How you doing? This is Mari Cruz, bringing the gap between the rich and the poor, coming from the great state of Texas, and I'm here with Dave Rose from Bali, Indonesia. How you doing, Dave?
I'm glad to be here, Mary. It's very exciting. What's going
Yes,
on
me
there in
too.
Texas?
Texas, we're melting away. You know what I mean? I don't know if you've ever been here in Texas, but it's really, really hot, like hot.
I
And
love
then
it.
we're
I have many, many fond memories of Texas.
Mhm.
Years and years ago at the Astrodome when it was first built. Maybe I'm dating myself there, but
Oh my
many good
God,
memories.
really?
Back in the days of when oil was big and the offshore technology conferences were there. Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So how's everything where you are? Because you're in Bali. I mean, man.
I couldn't think of a better place to be riding out the COVID lockdowns, really. I'm very, very fortunate to have been able to be here. I've been here since December, and
Mhm.
it's been really fortunate. I was in the Philippines prior to this, and the lockdowns there are pretty severe. Whereas here, they're just a little more comfortable. I mean, lockdowns are lockdowns. I know everybody's suffering with them, but
Mhm.
it's a very. I'm lucky to be here as opposed to some of the other places where a lot of people are stuck.
So tell me a little bit about your background, because I don't know too much about your background. Where you're from, how you started
Sure,
your
sure.
business and these type of things. Yeah.
I grew up in Boston, and I don't have the accent. My father forbid it, but I, uh, I was born and raised there, and lived there up until I was 27. I went on the road and started working for an entertainment company that took me all over Southeast Asia, Pacific Rim. I was in Southeast Asia, Pacific Rim from basically 1992 all the way to 2000. Came back to the States in 2000 and uh, had all these skills that I developed in the entertainment business. Um, and they weren't things that I was going to be able to do anymore. The things that I had learned to do in my career were all things that required me to be on the road. And if I
Mm,
wasn't going to be on the road anymore, then I wasn't going to be able to do those things. So it's time for a new career. So there I am, 37 years old at the time. And
wow.
my wife is new to the US, uh, had to find a way to make a living and make ends meet, uh, and just develop new skills. And I got involved in the real estate business. I was in the
Oh,
real
wow.
estate business for 16 years. Um, and it treated me very, very well. Treated me very well. And I was involved in owning property, developing property, as well as helping other people do that. But then in 2016, after 16 years of working really, really hard at that, building that type of a business, I was just like, wow, I'm 53 now. My wife has been here in a foreign country now for 16 years. Maybe it's time to go back. So we went back to the Philippines in
Mm,
late 2016. Sold everything in the U.S. and just decided I was going to go there and I was going to open a resort. I was going to build a resort. I'm going to buy some
wow.
land, build a little resort, small island, small tropical island, and just go for it. Um, and
So what happened with that? How did that go?
Well, it went great. It went great. The island that we chose to live on became extraordinarily popular, and in fact, it became so popular. The land that we purchased became so valuable compared to what
Mm,
we paid for it that it didn't even make sense to finish the build, and we actually sold it even before we finished it. Um,
wow.
and I felt it was a little bit of a bubble. I'd been in the real estate business for a long time, and I felt like this is just too much money to kind of leave on the table, and it just
Hmm.
feels like something could go wrong here. And if it does, I'm going to feel really, really bad if I don't sell this now. So I did, and we were very fortunate. We sold it in November of 2019, and
Wow. Right before the pandemic. How would a pandemic would have affected that property? Do you think it would have
I,
hurt
I,
that
I
property or not?
I can't even tell you how badly it would have hurt it. And many,
Oh my God,
many,
that
many,
was like serendipity, like right there. So now
many.
you sell this place. What happened next?
Well, the lockdowns came. the lockdowns came,
Mhm.
and and at the same time, I was sort of looking for a new mission for myself. I really hadn't worked very hard for about 5 years. Yeah,
Mhm.
we just kind of pursued the build, but it wasn't that complicated. So, um, it was interesting. I was starting to become, one of these guys that just sort of sits around the bar and, drinks and complains and, oh, it used to be better. And now there's so many people here. It was so much nicer 2 years ago when there was no people. All these tourists now, blah, blah, blah. And I just started becoming one of those people that I never, ever wanted to be. And I
Mm,
realized that, this is a problem. This is not because of my situation. This is because of I'm not doing anything. And
exactly.
a bunch of things started to dawn on me that, I think a lot of us seek out happiness, thinking that it's a state, that it's a static state.
Mhm.
But I've come to really believe that, our real source of happiness is always going to be when we're in some sort of state of positive transformation. We cannot stay the same. And I understand it's very hard for all of us at times when we're in an okay situation, things are going
Mhm.
good enough, and so we don't want to take a lot of chances because it could definitely be worse, right? And
Exactly.
we don't know what's going to happen, and so we say, I'm just going to I'm comfortable where I am. I'm going to stay where I am, yeah. But unfortunately, that never works because the world is always moving away from us in some way, yeah.
Mhm. Exactly.
Um, And if you think you're going to be able to stay where you are, you're still going to have to change to even keep your situation as it is. You're still going to have to find ways to transform and get better and keep up with all the change that's going on around you. Um,
So true,
and
because we can actually, the pandemic is not only the only one of the things that we have gone that has made us realize that we are not in control of anything, but that there's going to be change no matter if we want it or not. It's what we're going to do when that change comes to us. And I think staying in a comfortable place is not the way to go. Because I mean, that's what we are in a business. We want transformation. We want to better ourselves. We don't want to settle for less. We want to be the better version of ourselves every day that passes by. You think?
I agree. I agree. Um, and that's sort of why I wrote my second book, which is the one that I sent over to you earlier, The
Mhm.
Negative Advantage, because I realized in many ways that uh, when I look back at the situations that I faced in my life, it was the worst situations of all, and I talk about them in the book that were able to give me the strength to move forward. And so that's why adversity is an advantage, because sometimes when things are comfortable and complacent, it's too easy to stay where we are. Whereas adversity puts us into a situation where we're forced to embrace that change, and that's where real transformation happens.
I
That's
so
where
agree with you. I so agree with you, Dave, because all I have since my youth has been struggle. And
truly.
so that is the reason why I said to myself, I am never gonna be. I saw my parents struggle. They were bankrupt, and I said, I am not gonna be like them, and I am not going to. I'm not. I'm gonna be better. And I think I have surprised my parents in a lot of the things, like having a house early when they had a house later and all this stuff. So yeah, adversity is where it grows. So your book. So you started your business. You had all this background on different types of works, from traveling and then real estate, and then you started affiliate marketing, or you worked before then somewhere else besides that
Uh,
that business?
well, I really decided that I was just going to be in the authorship space.
Okay.
I'd written a book on real estate, and it was more of a story type of book. It wasn't meant to be a
Mm,
how-to book. It was meant to be a book just to sort of inspire people, tell them that, so many people talk about wanting to become involved in the real estate business. And I got involved in it pretty late in life. I got involved in it as sort of my third career. Uh, and, uh,
so
so
you wanted to
37 years
always
old.
wanted to be a author. You That was something that was in your in your mind for a long time, and that's why you wrote those two books?
No, it wasn't. It was something that I just realized that, part of the sort of mission that I was going to pursue was
Mm,
that I was going to try to spread knowledge and help people, develop wealth through real estate, not through necessarily a how-to book or a course or something like that, but rather simply the simple story of that this is possible. That this is what I did,
mhm.
and this is how I did it, and anybody
Wow.
can. Because even when I was in the real estate business, it was something that I always would tell people. I always tell people that there's in the United States of America, there's no excuse for someone not retiring wealthy. It's real estate is a simple path to wealth. And
Mhm.
if you do what I did, and with lots and lots of people I knew, and I was fortunate to have great mentors along the way, really fortunate. Um, you can have it. I mean, and we're not talking like, private jet money here, but we're talking like, the kind of money where your kids' college funds will be funded. You'll drive a new car every 4 or 5 years. Your wife can redo the
Mm.
kitchen anytime she wants, and you go on a couple of nice vacations every year, right? And
Yeah, it just depending on what
that,
you say for real estate, because remember, we got real estate of you selling, you being the person that is selling. We got wholesaling. I don't know if you ever heard of wholesaling.
sure,
And so that's another one. You're just
sure,
being the intermediary again, the middle person, and connecting a person, so solving somebody's solution. And then we got investing in real estate, which is what I told my son, who was 23 and 25. Go and buy yourself a duplex, live there and rent it and live rent free type of thing. See, Z?
yeah. If he doesn't, I hope he took your advice, and if he
Oh
needs
yeah,
a
he
second
said, "Mom,
opinion,
that's amazing." I said,
yeah,
"Mom, yes, tell me more." I said, "Yeah," and I said, "Just don't buy a duplex. Buy the four ones. Where you can have
yeah,
one and then you have three people, and
exactly,
then
because you can,
you're gonna keep buying more, and you're gonna keep actually having passive income, and so now he's." But yeah, so I think the main thing that I'm seeing is that you need to use your knowledge in what you do, and that's how you ended up writing your books and going through all these things just to actually keep going to this transformation. Am I right?
yes,
So how
exactly.
the books help you in your business? Because I know a lot of people are using books as lead generation and to get traffic and all this stuff. How does that help in your business specifically?
Well, the first thing is that, as soon as you explain to people that you're an author, it changes their entire perception of you very, very quickly.
Hmm.
And it allows you to communicate your message to them in a way that they're going to be far more open to.
Yeah.
And that was really shocking to me. I didn't really realize that was going to be a something that would happen. Um, and suddenly people from previous parts of my life were back in touch with me. And
Hmm. Interesting.
the first thing that happened was that, uh, as soon as I wrote the book and I sent it to, one friend of mine, and he was like, "Oh my God, this is great. I want to send it to a whole bunch of people." And I've been completely out of the real estate business for 5 years, and now I'm halfway down the road to running a virtual real estate summit, late summer, early fall. That
Hmm.
will be all about it. It'll be called the Real Estate Launchpad, and for that, we're going to bring together 25 to 30 experts from all different parts of the country and possibly the world. I do have some people in England that have been pretty interested now.
Wow.
Uh, so we'll see how big it gets, but I want to stay realistic on it. Um, but it's incredible, and so it's the Real Estate Launchpad. And it's all about helping people to get that first deal done, whatever it is, whatever level it's at. Whether it's you just want a place to live in yourself, fine, let's get it done. Let's figure out what it
Hmm.
takes. Let's find the right people for you to the people that whose message resonates with you and who you're the type of person that they can help.
Hmm.
And we'll match you up. We'll match you up, and it's pretty exciting. I
So
was
would you
I was
attribute
really
that to
really
your
stunned
book?
by it.
Would you attribute
I'm
it to
sorry.
your book? Would you attribute the virtual real estate summit connected to the book that you wrote? Or
Well, it just
or
became it was just a natural outgrowth. It was a natural
oh,
outgrowth. People saw the
wow.
book. People started reaching out to me. People started, and I said, you know what? We got to do this. We got to
Wow.
do this. We got to take this message bigger.
So you got
because people,
credibility, you get instant credibility. People starting noticing you, and now you got an opportunity out of
yeah,
just writing a book. Wow.
exactly.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Um, and that's not to mention the amazing followers that I have now that have, that I'm in communication with. And, um, one of the things that I think is really important in the authorship space is to really, especially today, the authorship space is not really about going to Barnes and Noble and, rummaging through the shelves and picking out a book, depending on, by reading the first few pages
Yeah.
somewhere. It's a lot of it happens online. People can see them on their virtual books. People are reading their phones. People are reading the books on their phones, on their tablets, on their computers. People are listening to audiobooks. It's really a
Mhm.
completely different world than when I was a kid. Anyway, when I was a kid, you had to
Wow.
go to the used bookstore, and buy a book. Or if when you were lucky enough to live in a big city and had a great library, that was good too. But maybe if you were in a small town, you made your way up through the entire library, so it was tough.
So what
But
you're
now
saying
books
is
are
that
everywhere.
this time has enabled us, people that are common people, to actually be able to publish our own books and let other people hear about our message. Because, I mean, do you think 20, 30 years ago wasn't like that? I mean, will we had any chance 20, 30 years ago? Seriously?
The publishing business was completely, a club, private club
Mm,
per se. Where
mm,
to get into that club, you had to have certain credentials.
wow.
Whereas now, the whole world has become much more customized and personalized. Uh,
Mhm.
you look at what some of the smartest people in the online industry are doing today is developing systems by which you can totally personalize your audience and make sure that they're bringing anything that people are doing online is becoming more and more personalized. Right now you see Ryan Levesque is putting together this incredible program all about
Oh, yeah.
the ask method and the choose, ask, build system, and
Mhm.
how to create little quizzes online to get in to make sure that you're able to provide people with exactly what they want. And
Yes,
the
yes.
authorship space is very similar to that today. And everything in the world is that way today. People want customization. People want personalization. You see it in when we go on YouTube, there's a gazillion different channels. People want to listen to the channel they want to. When I was a kid, there were 3 TV stations, and they were all the same.
VHS, MTV. I don't know. You're a little bit older than me, but I'm
A
Generation
little
X, so
bit.
I remember all those, all those channels.
Well, they started to come, but I mean, when I was a kid, there were 3 channels:
So how
ABC,
does
CBS, and NBC.
so did you used to do ads before you did your book? How did that change your ad cost compared to before the books and after the books?
I don't have any input on that. I didn't do any advertising, and I was convinced that I wanted to give this book away. I was convinced that it was
Mhm.
important to me to give away, and I was ready to see what the results were. Um, to do that, we do have some ad costs, yeah, and but it's pretty low. It's pretty low. I mean, if you're asking me for like hard numbers, I think I'm paying like paying about $3 to $4 a lead, something like that. Occasionally, depending on the month. Sometimes it's a little more, sometimes it's a little less. I think
That's
when I
not bad,
turn up the,
actually. I mean,
I
if you go pay in Facebook, you're gonna pay way more than that.
well, we use
But
Facebook. We
but
well, I
you're
use
using.
Facebook. I use Facebook advertising, but that's the kind
Mm,
of conversion that I'm getting. So, and again, I think it's because, and here's the real thing. My books are also for sale on Amazon. Yeah.
okay.
Um, and so I think that that's really a huge differentiator when you have something like a book. People can go on Amazon and can buy my book as a hardcover, and they do.
Mhm.
Maybe not a lot, but they do. And my mom bought no. um,
So what
and
about leads? How many leads? And I don't want you to give me like a specific number, but like percentage wise, before your books and after your books, how's that grown?
100% are from my leads, and 100% of my leads are from my
Wow,
books, all of them, 100%.
100%. Wow,
Um,
that's huge.
100%. I maybe I'm 99%. I think I have more than 99%, 99.5%. I had done some other types of marketing, and it was expensive and not effective, and the people were not engaged. And within the first month of doing this, my first month, I generated 300 leads. Yeah. And within the first 2 weeks, I was getting direct messages back from people. It wasn't just that I was talking to them; they were communicating back with me.
So engagement, higher engagement.
Yeah, but I mean like real engagement. I don't mean like, oh, they read it. I don't mean like opens. And I don't mean like clicks. I mean, they were emailing me back and asking me questions and talking to me and engaging in conversations with me. And so I knew I was on the right track. And then, like as I said, people reached out to me, and the summit's going to happen. And I don't think I would have been able to make it happen if it weren't for the book. Even though I was in the real estate business for 16 years, I think my position as an author in the space now is very, very helpful. At the end of the day, the online business is a difficult one, and the first thing you have to do is figure out what you do. The second thing you have to do is create content that reflects what you do. And then the third thing is you build authority based on that. And you just keep rinsing and repeating that process. Know what you do it, repeat it, build authority, and everything will fall into place. But it is a long game. It's very interesting. I was talking to someone the other day, and I said, other people's experience may vary, but I expect that, the list that I've built by doing this, it takes time to mature. I think a good email list is like a fine wine. It doesn't just start, it's not an ATM that just starts spitting out money at you right away.
Yeah, exactly.
It develops opportunity. You develop relationships. People over time ask you, they trust you. It's a know, like, and trust process. And when you come to that from the authorship space, when you've got something very specific, when you're sharing some knowledge, where you show that you have authority, you're not giving away a 7-page PDF that came up with PLR. I mean, come on.
Yes, definitely.
You're giving someone a book that costs $14.99 if they want to buy it, giving away for free. So that anchors the value of it, because it is something that people do pay for. And so when they receive it, they are receiving value, and that value is tangible. And I think that that's a really, really important part of the leads process, which is the process that I followed.
So how does a lead process step by step, and the way of doing things made it easier for you, or how was that process? And did you when you wrote the first book, did you use the same process, or you did it on your own?
Use the same process on both.
It's the same process. So how?
Use the same process with both, and everybody's going to be a little bit different. But I chose a 100% done for you process. Because I'm not the best finisher in the world. And I know that, I think if it's within reach for you, you should definitely do it. Like anyone who really wants to get the book done, that's the way to do it, because then it gets done, and it gets done well. And Jonathan's got a pretty amazing process. Sometimes I don't even think he knows how good it is. Because it really is. It's an incredible process that puts out a fantastic quality, and then he's thought every step of it out, and it really, really works. And we all know that there's so many people that start and don't finish. That early on in the process, I remember I saw a quote that I mentioned to him. It's like, everybody has a book in them. The problem is it usually stays there. And so everybody has this idea for a great book, and it just never gets finished. Talk to all these authors. Oh, I'm still working on my book. Jonathan's all about getting it done fast, getting it published, getting it out there, and getting traffic towards it. And it works. It's quite impressive.
Well, I mean, yeah, because he's done over 600 books. So it's not like he you know what I mean? He came out of the other day and started doing it, but it's been something that he's been developing for a while. And I mean, I wrote a book before, and I'm still in the process of using his method, and it is actually making it easier because I was like, oh my God, where do you start? How do you put this in, organize it, and all this other stuff? And especially for people like me that are ADHD, that we're all over the place. So I don't know about you, but yeah, the
The real
process
thing
makes
is
sense.
you just have to do what he says. Like, just do what he says. So we all have this idea that, like, oh, we're going to come in and do this. And it's like, look at his entire body of the work, look at his success, and just trust the process. Don't try to change it. Don't just follow it. When he says, use these fonts for your cover, use those fonts. When he says use this service, use that service. It's not because he's making a gazillion dollars off of that, whatever it is, like, suggesting some sort of $20 piece of software that he's going to suggest you to use. No, he's going to suggest it because he uses it and knows it works. And he maintains an incredibly high ethical standard in the industry in terms of really only recommending the things that he actually uses. You know, if you look at his website, you can see that his tools page is constantly changing. When he stops using something, it comes right down and he puts in something else. Whatever the new product is, he's very good about it.
I
And
think
he
the main
just
thing for Jonathan is that he wants his students to be successful. And
yeah,
so he does everything and gives you everything that you need to get to that success. But now if you don't do what he tells you to do with the proven method that he's had, in the case studies that he's had, if you don't have the results that you want because you didn't follow through, then whose fault is that? And I think it's important to just follow and trust the process, like you said. I
yeah.
mean,
And when he tells you email every day, just do it. Like, email every day. Your people want to hear from you. These are people that have bought your book. There's been an exchange of value for your book. They're grateful for the relationship, and some people will unsubscribe, but not many. My unsubscribes are super low, super low. All the numbers that I see on the list that it's generated I feel really, really good about them, really good. Um,
how long did it
and it's
take
been
with
used.
the engagement, because usually when you're doing cold traffic, it takes a long time. They said that it takes 7 or more times for people to, but I think it's more than that. How long did it shorten the process when you put your books? You know what I mean, with engagement of your traffic in your leads.
It was within the first 10 days. In
Wow.
the first 10 days, people started emailing me directly. I have direct messages. I have, replies to my outbound emails.
Wow. 10 days.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
And
mind
there are
blowing.
people, yeah. And well, and it's, and part of it is, and that's part of the process of the way in which, the way in which you put the books together, is specifically designed. The way the books are written is designed to do that, to create a real sense of intimacy and, let people know right from the very beginning, everything from the landing pages we use to the language that's used in the closings of the book and throughout it, are to tell people, we want to talk to you. We want to, you've taken time to listen to our story, my story. I want to do the same for you, and teaches his students to do that, to really get to develop a true relationship with their audience. And, it happens. It happens.
Hmm.
Uh,
So can you tell the people like 3 things why writing this book, doing it this way, has made a change in your business specifically, and how can they help them?
well, I don't think I'd be in this business if it weren't for the books. I mean, I can't really,
Wow, that's a big statement.
Yeah. I don't
That's a
think
big
I'd be in
statement.
the business. I mean, I suppose that maybe I might have pursued some other sort of traffic strategy or something like that, but I don't think so. I think I'd be in a different business I think I'd be in a different business if it weren't for this. I can't imagine the struggles that people go through, trying to find ways to get out there on social media and pick up leads through Facebook groups and things like that. I just can't
Solo
imagine.
ads,
Yeah.
which doesn't work as
All
I
the,
tried it.
I can't imagine. Um, there's a genuineness to this. And again, it's going to come back to if what you're looking to do is develop that know, like, and trust factor. There's nothing that's going to elevate your authority in the eyes of your audience more quickly than having a hardcover book that's for sale and offering a free copy of it. There's nothing else that you can do like that. It changed it. I mean, quite frankly, and it changes many other parts of your life as well. It's a legacy. It's a part.
So what do you
It's a
tell the
permanent.
people that say they don't have a story or they're boring or whatever? Do you think I don't think that's true, but what would you tell them? Because you know how
I would
people
just tell them they're wrong. Yeah, I would just tell them they're wrong. I mean, everybody has a story. The problem is it's our story and we think it's boring because we've been living with it all this time. That's all. It's only boring to you. Like your life is very, very boring to you because you live it all the time and it's just the same every day. But the things that you've done in your life are fascinating to other people because they haven't done what you've done.
Mhm.
Maybe there are people that have done what you've done, and then your story is going to be boring to them. But there are lots of people who haven't, and you don't need that many. You know, you if you find 1,000 or 2,000 people that love your book, and that's 1,000, 2,000 raving fans out there that love your book, that thinks it's fantastic. That's all you need out of the 5 billion people in the world. I don't know what the percentage is, but you only need a very, very small percentage of the public to love your book, and that's going to be enough. This idea that you need to put out a bestseller that's going to sell 1 million copies, I don't even know how many. That's not going to happen. And I would say maybe you don't want that to happen anyway. I mean, who wants that type of fame? I don't. Um, but I do like being able to have people engage with me in this way because they do have something to offer.
Mhm.
And as people read it, I realize how valuable it is. It actually cements that value for me as I receive the feedback from the people who have read the book and reached out to me. And having those open lines of communication with your readers, with your audience is really, really important. Not just for them, but for you.
Yeah, definitely, because like we got different people in social media that has millions and millions of followers, but are they really engaged with them? You know what I mean? Like, are they really engaged with them? Why they just want because you're cute or because you're dancing or because of something? Um, and then what happens when it doesn't? People are not there anymore. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's having millions and millions of followers. It's having a connection with somebody because of their story. And I think the main thing we want to say about this, writing your book is telling your story is the most powerful marketing tool that we have in our disposal. And no matter what content we create, we are always telling our story. Will you agree with me there?
I agree. I agree. It's very empowering. It's very freeing. Uh, I've shared things in my book that I don't share with a lot of people in the world, and now they're out there in the world, which is pretty staggering.
Wow.
And it's been great. It's been an incredible experience.
So, guys, I mean, I know there's a lot of people that want to start. They have in the bucket list. I want to write a book, but they don't. They don't know where to start.
Yeah. I'll just say it again. Everybody has a book in them, and the problem is it usually stays there. And, they may not have 5 or 7, but they've got one. Everybody's got one.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And
and
don't you think that at least you need one, at least just one? You don't have to like either go to the stream of writing 100 books or whatever
no,
to actually get engagement with people.
and it's very empowering. It's very satisfying. I mean, it's part of leaving a legacy. It's a permanent mark on the world that's out there. But there's not a lot of other ways you can do that. It's a way that anybody can, and I think everybody should.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. I mean, this is just like, seriously, whoever has anything about, they need to write a book and tell your story, because the way that you're talking about it is not only just to get it out there, but it also made a transformation in you just telling your story. It's,
Absolutely.
you say
Getting it out
freeing,
of, yeah, it's
like
freeing.
you got rid of
Getting,
some weight while you were doing this, while you were writing the story.
I think that anytime that you do something that lifts a weight off of other people, it lifts it a little bit from you. Anytime that you have the opportunity to, someone asked me that, it's like, what would be, if you could be really remembered for something, it would be that I would say that I shared my mistakes with people so that they wouldn't make them. And I think that that's a way to be remembered really well in this world, if you just allow other people to stand on your shoulders. Yeah. And in
Yeah, because
general,
we all make
they-
mistakes. So can you
yeah,
can you give me your link of your book so I can post them
sure.
in just put it in the private chat, and then I will post them in
Uh,
Facebook
I,
and YouTube, because we're in 3 places, just so you
in the
know.
in the private chat here on
Yeah,
Zoom.
when you put it in private chat, I put it in the other chat, and it will go through Facebook, because we're in three. I'm multi-streaming in 3 places right now. We're in Facebook and YouTube. I always multi-stream. I like doing that.
Let me see if I can find it. I got it around here somewhere.
While you looking for that, I remember, 5 years ago I started affiliate marketing, and they will say, start, tell your story. And I didn't want to be vulnerable. Oh, there you go. I see it. I didn't want to be vulnerable because where I came from was a tough place. And you don't
Sure.
usually talk about, certain things, because it makes you, for me, it made it feel like it was, a weakness or whatever. And I said, let me just try this and start telling my story about being bullied, being discriminated, and all this other stuff. And then I started seeing this engagement, and I'm like, this is true. This works.
Yeah.
And that
And,
was
and,
just
and
post in Facebook, just so you know.
sure. And it's a way to save other people from that situation, however big or small it is. I can, it's funny. I was talking to like someone the other day, and you know, she didn't think she had anything to share. And I said, well, let's talk about when you started your e-commerce store, right? You started your e-commerce store. You started on Shopee, yeah, which is a Southeast Asia
Mm,
version of Shopify, yeah, or something like it. And and the first thing you tried was this one particular strategy, and you spent a week working on that strategy. And what happened? She said, "Oh my God, it didn't work. I discovered that their API doesn't allow me to process payments from my country. And it took me a week to figure it out." They said, "Well, if you want to help other young women in your country, I mean, you could just teach them that."
exactly.
It's like whatever
Wow.
you do, if you're trying to start your online business here, definitely don't use this because it doesn't have an API where you can get paid.
Wow.
You know, it was to my point, like we've all, and she's like, "Oh yeah." I said, if someone, would you have paid someone, X number of dollars to tell you that before you spent a week of your life doing that? She says, "Absolutely." Well, there you go. Now you have, something to offer, and
Wow.
my suspicion is, so, I mean, I think that, when we look at our mistakes, when we look at the things that have gone wrong, when we think of the problems that we've had, if we can find a way to save those things that we've learned from our mistakes are of value to others.
Definitely.
And some of them
Definitely.
some of them have greater value. Some of them have life-changing value. Some of them, can just save somebody a few bucks. But
Or more
they're
than a
all,
few bucks.
well, they're all out there. I mean, you just never know. But
Wow.
every single one of them is an opportunity to save someone else from that small little pain point, whatever it is.
Definitely. Definitely. So you don't need that much information. You just tell your story, and just give a little bit of information that you know, and that information that you think is nothing might make such a big difference in somebody's life
Sure.
that they will thank you, like they're thanking you through your emails and comments that are sending to you.
It can make the difference between starting something big and just staying where you are. Be the smallest act.
Wow.
I believe in that. I believe in it strongly.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Dave, for coming
All
here to
right.
talk
Thanks
about
for having
your
me.
your amazing
I loved it.
story of
I look
writing
forward to
things.
I look forward to the next time. You know, I
Of
look forward to the
course.
day that we all I look forward to the day that we all get together and do this all live somewhere.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. I to your from your ears
we
to
have to.
God, from your mouth to your God's ears. Yeah. Well, you have a great day because you're tomorrow. This is so weird.
You have a nice
I'm on
evening.
a Sunday and you are on a
And have a
Monday.
great day.
You too. Take care.
All right.
Thank you so much
All
for
right.
coming.
Stay
Okay.
safe, Mark. Thank
Bye.
you.
You too. Take care. So, guys, this is amazing. So, please go and check this guy's book. Uh, get it today, fast, and hurry because you're missing out. And thank you for watching. This is Maricruz, the Gabbard and the Rich and the Poor coming for the great state of Texas. Take care and have a nice weekend.